I'm Jim Little, and welcome to This Week on the Plains, Life Without Parole. Bike sharing comes to Auburn, and no more Mr. Rice Guy. On January 20th, Desmonte Leonard received a life sentence for the 2012 killing of 2 Auburn football players and an Opelika man. Lee County Judge Jacob A. Walker sentenced Leonard to a total of 30 years for the 2 assault second-degree charges and the assault first-degree charge he was convicted of. He also sentenced Leonard to life without parole for the murder conviction. Leonard's defense attorney, Susan James, spoke to the press after the hearing.
Emotionally, you're drained at this point because of the anticipation of what could happen. And, while life without parole is obviously a very serious matter, at least his life has been spared. So we move forward now with the motion for new trial, and if that doesn't work, then obviously an appeal.
Lee County District Attorney Robert Treese made comments as well.
It's among the choices that the judge had. He followed the law exactly like he's supposed to. The other sentences as well, which everyone tends to forget, are also significant. I think they were appropriate. And as all of us, I would much prefer this never had happened, that the judge never be put in a position of having to make these choices. But given what we had, we were seeking the death penalty. We didn't get it. The only other option is life without. So I'm glad that for the families it's over, at least this part of it.
Treese also answered a question about his comments regarding Tiger Lodge, formerly known as University Heights, the location of the 2012 shooting and a shooting in December that killed former Auburn football player Jaquel Mitchell.
Well, in point of fact, what I said was that particular stretch of roadway has come to our attention multiple times. Just not long ago, Judge Walker sentenced a young man who was part of a home invasion, rape and burglary and robbery to consecutive life sentences. It's my expectation that, to try to let folks know when I hear repeatedly of a situation coming to my attention, I think it's my responsibility, and so I spoke out. I'm not, as I said before, there are very limited things that a district attorney's office can do about a situation like that. I have been pledged the support of local officials with respect to the kinds of information I need to try, and they've been wonderful and cooperative so far, and I expect that to continue.
Joining me now is campus reporter Tracy Oweno, who wrote a story in this week's Plainsman called Bike Share Program Will Roll Onto Campus in 2015. Tell us about what the Bike Share Program is.
So basically the program it's being put out to help students get around campus a lot easier, especially those who don't have access to bikes or like their bikes have been damaged or something, they can use it. And it's a program by Parking Services who got together with Sean Flood, who's the founder of Gotcha Ride, which is also another service that campus uses as well. And they're coming together to make this program where basically students can borrow bikes for like 24 hours without having to pay any money for it.
Okay, so it's absolutely free for students?
It is free for the first 24 hours, and then if they don't return it within those 24 hours, then they will be charged.
Okay. We can read about that this week in The Plainsman. Joining me now is Jordan Hayes, copy editor at the Auburn Plainsman, to talk about his column in this week's paper where he gives a couple of recipes with rice cookers.
Yeah, so obviously you cook rice in a rice cooker, but I read a New York Times article that said that a rice cooker essentially operates like a stove. So once it hits a certain temperature, it kind of turns off, but you can just press the cook button again, it'll turn back on. So you can make basically anything you would make in a pot. So I decided to make chili and macaroni and cheese. The chili was pretty easy, actually. Just throw some, well, I won't go into it. You can read the column. But I had a friend, the old opinion editor, Ben Crooms, helped me make the chili. It was really good. I'd recommend making the chili before you make the mac and cheese. It's a little bit more impressive.
Definitely, definitely. Well, you can read about that this week in the Auburn Plainsman. That's all for this week on The Plains. Be sure to check out The Plainsman every Thursday and all the time on ThePlainsman.com.